Good afternoon. Thank you guys for coming out today. I would like to introduce you to Sergeant Megan Houston. Megan is a graduate of 2021 from Ferrum College with a degree in Bachelor's of Science in Psychology and Criminal Justice. She's been working in law enforcement since June 2012, and she was previously employed with Botetourt County Sheriff's Office from 2012 to 2016, Franklin County Sheriff's Office in Corrections in 2016 to 2020, and she is currently employed at Franklin County Sheriff's Office in Public Relations. She was born and raised in Lexington and currently residing in Franklin County. Her and her husband, Chad, are welcoming their first child. So thank you, Megan, for being here with us today.
Thank you, Teresa. Glad to be here today. Yes, my husband and I are expecting our first child. I'm 8 months pregnant. So behind this podium, I'm going to sit here and rub a very active little girl and try to get her to calm down. She stays on the move, so I guess that's a good thing. But glad to be here today. I just wanted to talk a little bit on the topic of scams to try to protect everybody. There's a lot of scams out there nowadays that people are calling and trying to get your personal information, trying to get your bank account information, and sounds very real. And it has happened to everybody of all ages that have gotten stuck in this. So just something to kind of bring a little bit of attention to. So what are scams? The actual definition for a scam is any fraudulent business or scheme that takes money or goods from an unsuspecting person. It's commonly done through phone calls, text messages, emails, and internet links. I'm going to go through some of the most common scams that we're seeing in 2021, which have also come out of 2020 with, we saw a heightened risk of scams during 2020 during COVID when people were at home because they weren't getting out and about much. So there was a lot more phone calls that were coming out because they were able to reach people that were at home. So one of the biggest scams of starting in 2020 was a COVID-19 scam. And it was where they're targeting individuals and claiming that they have received a faulty vaccination. And that we're glad you got your vaccination, but you may have had a faulty one that we need to give you a booster, or we need to give you a different shot because it didn't have the right amount of serum that was in it. So they ask you to usually verify your personal information over the phone. Hey, what's your Social Security number so I can look you up in the system to make sure? Or what is your this information or that information? It's usually, a lot of times it's Social Security number. And people were like, yeah, I did get my vaccine, so this makes sense. Maybe it's just it's a recall somewhere. Another thing that COVID-19 scams were having was they were calling people who maybe had not received their vaccine yet. I know they were very hard to get at the beginning, and they were saying, well, we can get you a vaccine quicker, but we need to put you on kind of a waiting list, and in order to reserve your spot on a waiting list, we need you to put a deposit down. You'll get your deposit back when you get your shot, but right now we just need to hold your deposit to keep you on that list. So they were getting, whether it was $100 or more from individual people, that it may not have been a large amount with one person, but when they hit a targeted group, they were collecting quite a bit of money. And people didn't know, they were just so ready to get their vaccine. So that's one thing to look out for. I would definitely look out for that for anybody moving forward, whether you've been vaccinated or not. I know there is a lot of talk in the news about needing booster shots for some of the COVID-19 vaccines that came out. My biggest advice with that is consult your doctor's office. Your doctor's office will not call you and say, hey, I need to get some money from you in order to give you your booster shot. They're not going to say, hey, can you give me your Social Security number so I can book your appointment? The best thing to do on that is just say, let me call you back, and you can hang up. Then you can personally call your doctor's office to make sure you know that it's coming out of that doctor's office and say, I just talked to so-and-so, was wondering if I need to make an appointment to get a booster shot, they were saying that I needed to. Just kind of clarify that up a little bit. You're seeing that a lot of people are using, a lot of your telemarketer calls now are using local phone numbers. It's like they're stealing phone numbers. So they'll do the same thing with your doctor's office phone numbers. So just because it might come up on your caller ID that it's your doctor's office doesn't necessarily mean that it is. So just to be on the safe side. Another scam is something about something surrounding Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security. They'll threaten that you will lose your health insurance coverage if you don't provide personal information. Again, that's we need to make sure that we have the correct address, phone number, Social Security number, and then also requesting payment over the phone in order to continue coverage. Trying to say, well, you owe this bill that is outstanding, and if you don't pay this, you're going to lose your Medicaid, you're going to lose your Medicare, or we're going to stop your Social Security. That's not going to happen. Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security, they will never call you over the phone and ask you to give them money or give them personal information like that. They will hit you up in the mail. They will send you a lot of pieces of mail, but they're not going to call and ask you that information over the phone. Another one is Irs Scams. We see this a lot, especially around tax season, when people are filing their taxes and they're either having to pay in or they're receiving refunds. A lot of it is surrounding identity theft. There will be people that go and file taxes pretending to be you because they've gotten some of your information. And they'll say, well, I'm this person, and here's their Social Security number that I got a hold of, and this is what we make, and this is this, and this is the refund that I want to get back. And they just punch in these numbers until it looks good to them. But it's not you. It's somebody using your identity. So again, one thing to look out with those types of scams, so a lot of times they will get your cell phone number or your landline phone number. They will either give you a phone call, they will email you if they have your email, they'll send you a text message, and they'll ask you to verify your bank account information, saying, we have a stimulus check that we need to put in your account that you didn't get, but we need you to click on this link and verify your bank account number and routing number so that we can deposit this money in there. No. Don't click the link. You'll know a lot through the news if there's any type of those economic relief payments that come out again. But that was getting a lot of people because there were a lot of people that didn't have bank accounts, that they just moved away from bank accounts. And they didn't know how they were going to get their stimulus checks. So they were having people calling them and saying, hey, if you give me this information, I'll make sure that you get this money. And it turns out it went the other way around. They got their information and they wiped out all their money. So just be very cautious with that. The IRS will not contact you by phone, email, text message, or social media to ask you about that information. Trust me, the IRS knows everything about you already. They do not need to know your Social Security number or your address or your phone number because they do know it because they will find you if they need to find you. Another scam, this is one that has been around for years. It talks about debt relief and credit repair for the people who they either have a large number of debt, whether it's through credit cards, auto loans, mortgages, student loans, and they try to tell you that they will either negotiate with the creditors to settle out so that you don't have to pay the full amount, or they'll reduce the repayment that you have to pay, but you have to pay a large upfront fee to show us kind of a promise to pay. If you give me $2,000, I will take your $20,000 loan and cut it in half. But we have to show that we're good for it by paying this upfront fee. They take that upfront fee and they have nothing to do with your loan. You still have that $20,000 loan. It's never a good idea to give out any financial information or payment over the phone. Don't go get a gift card and mail it to somewhere or an agency that you don't know. If you've got the IRS that they're supposedly calling you and saying, I need you to go to Kroger and get me a gift card, and $500 to Amazon, what's the IRS going to do with $500 to Amazon? No, we're not, no. So just be very cautious on that. Anything that has, you will see through all of these, anything that has a money exchange or a personal information exchange, like I said, your bank account numbers, your social security numbers, all those things you've kind of always been told to protect, just keep that in mind. You have insurance fraud scams. You have different people that will be fake insurance agents that they will call you and try to say, I can lower your life insurance. I can lower your car insurance. I can lower your mortgage, your homeowner's insurance. And with that, though, a lot of times they're getting smart. I go through insurance with State Farm. So somehow, and I don't know if it's just out of luck or if it's because they have found some information, but they will find out who you have your insurance through. They will call you and say, I'm a representative with State Farm, which is who I've been working with since I was 16 years old. Why wouldn't I trust somebody that says they're with my agency? And we're just trying to let you know that you are going to have a coverage lapse because we didn't get your last payment, or it's stuck in the system, it just hasn't gone. But if you want to go ahead and give us your bank account information, we need to go ahead and draft your next payment so that you don't lose coverage, and we'll just credit that to your next month when the other one kind of sifts through. No. So in that instance, what I would do is just say, well, I need to check through my paperwork. Let me call my bank. Let me make sure that it's not a bank problem. Hang up, and then I will personally call my State Farm office and say, I just got this phone call, and I just want to make sure that I'm not going to lose my coverage or I haven't missed a payment. Just wanted to double check in. And the agent that I've been dealing with for years and years and years will then be able to tell me, oh, no, don't do that, that's a scam, or yes, that actually was us that called. So just something to verify a little bit more through a local office or somebody that you may have dealt with before. And here's a good one, Sweepstakes Scam. Everybody's heard of Publishers Clearinghouse. Everybody has heard of it. So a lot of times you get contacted and saying, congratulations, you've just won this big award. You've won the lottery, you've won this award. 8 times out of 10, you never applied for that award. You never put in for that. So am I just the lucky number today? Did I just get picked today? And usually what they'll tell you is, in order for us to secure your award and secure your prize, we need you to go ahead and pay the taxes on that prize. So you know that when you're getting a large sum of money, that means that's also a large amount of taxes that you're going to have to pay on that. We see every day where people win the lottery, and here's this astronomical number where they've won the lottery, but then they got to pay half of that in taxes. Similar to the same thing with sweepstakes. So they will tell you, go ahead and give me your bank numbers, your credit card numbers. We're going to go ahead and have to draft out your taxes that you're going to pay, but we will also already have that information, so when we give you your big prize, we can put it back in there. And that's just how they get people's credit card and bank account numbers, and then you never get your sweepstakes. I cannot personally say whether Publishers Clearinghouse is real or is not. I've never personally known anybody that has gone through that. But it's something that I would always be cautious with. Unless they're showing up at my door with cash money, and you're going to hand me cash money, then no, I'll just wait on my cash money. You can go cash that check and bring it over to me. But I'm not going to give you my personal information. Robo Calls. These are those calls. I'm not sure if anybody in here has ever gotten the phone call that says that this is Vanessa and your extended car warranty has expired. And then you say, no, Vanessa, it's okay. I don't need to talk to you. And then the next day, guess who calls back? Somebody for your extended car warranty. A lot of times with these, and this is actually something I've personally had somebody get scammed with is there was a family friend. He had gotten a robocall, and it was actually from the call was saying that it was from it was a medical team or a medical business that he had a back injury when he was working. So he had ongoing back problems, and they asked him if he wanted to try out this wonderful something for his back that was supposed to relieve the tension, relieve the pressure. He told them, yeah, that would be good. It's, it's kind of it's the free trial. We're going to send you a free trial of this. We're going to look at it. So he was saying, they were asking him questions, and he was repeating back, yes, I will do that. Yes, I am okay with that. They were recording his voice when he was saying yes, and then they would turn around and after this phone call, reinsert their own whatever verbiage that they want to use and say, well, he said yes to pay $500 because we have his yes recorded. So we just insert his yes in here. Technology is just, everything is recorded. Everything is, you can just move it how they want to do it. And it turns out he never got anything in the mail, and then he started getting all these bills from these medical places where they had been charging for stuff that he hadn't gotten and services that he hadn't gotten. But then when he went to actually battle it, they actually had to end up going to court. They were saying, well, the company said, well, we have his yes recorded. Well, that's not what I said yes to. So one thing with robocalls, kind of going back to that extended car warranty. It can be something as simple as that they say, we want to help you with your extended car warranty because we don't want you to lose your warranty. We want to make sure that you're taken care of. Is this something that would be interesting to you? Oh, yes, it would. There's your yes. Now they have your yes. If it is not something that is coming across the phone that you are expecting and that you know, I would just hang up. When they call me, I just hang up. Whether it is an automated phone voice or it is a telemarketer, I just hang up. I would rather be, unfortunately, rude and cautious than give them something that they can use against me. Another one that we see that is quite often is people will say that they will be getting phone calls from the local police department, from a court clerk, or saying that you have jury duty. You've been selected for jury duty. And they will tell you that sometimes they'll tell you that you have a fee or a fine that needs to be paid. And if you don't pay it, you're going to go to jail. We're going to come pick you up, you're going to go to jail. And we need payment over the phone now, or we're coming now to come pick you up. We don't tell people we're coming to pick them up because then they run away. So that's not going to happen. They're not going to ask you to pay over the phone. Same thing with your jury duty. You can get a phone call that they say, you've been selected for jury duty. We need you to appear on these days to these days in order to do jury duty. But in order to make sure that we have you secured on our list, we need a deposit. Why do you need a deposit for me to do jury duty? Well, we just want to make sure that you're going to be there. And then when you say, no, I don't want to give a deposit for jury duty. Actually, I don't even want to do jury duty. Well, if you don't want to do it, then you have to pay this to opt out. No. Hang up, call the courthouse. So one thing about this is real situations of this. If you do have a fee or a fine, or you have been selected for jury duty, you're either going to get something in the mail, kind of an invoice, a bill, something like that in the mail, or if you ever get a phone call of this, they will never ask you to make a payment over the phone. They may ask you, at your earliest convenience, can you come to the courthouse and try to get this settled up? But again, that's asking you to come into their place of business. It's not saying, I need your information now because I need to do this over the phone. That would be okay. In most of these situations, if they call you and say, we really need you to come into the office because we need to try to get this worked out, there's a lapse of coverage in your insurance, and we just want you to come in so we can try to figure out what's going on with this. If you're going into your home office and you see a face-to-face person, you're usually okay. Just don't do it over the phone. And then briefly on how to protect yourself from falling for scams, I will probably repeat a lot of what I just said. Never give out any personal or financial information to anybody that you don't know or trust. If you have a bank or an insurance agency that calls demanding money, don't give it to them, but call your local office to try to verify. If I owe something, I have no problem with paying it as long as I verify with my office. Yeah, you did miss that payment, or yes, that didn't go through, and then try to get it settled up that way. The IRS, police, courts, Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security offices, they will never ask for payment over the phone. One thing that you can do is if somebody does call and ask you for payment over the phone, you can ask them to send you an invoice, send you a bill. Send me a bill so I can see it and we can move from there, and I can then send in my money. If they are legitimate, then they're going to have your mailing address. If they're not, they may say, well, what's your mailing address? You're the IRS. You know my mailing address. You know my mailing address. You probably know what color my mailbox is. So you don't have to give that information to them. But if it is a phone call and it is legitimate and you say, I don't feel comfortable paying this over the phone, I would rather you send me a paper copy and then I can send a check in. If they're legitimate, they'll send it to you. And then you can kind of go from there to double check into things. Back to the Robo Calls or those unknown telemarketer calls, just hang up. Don't let them record your voice, just hang up. Another thing you can do is if you get something that just seems like it's a little bit off kilter, a little bit, you don't really know kind of which way it's swaying, consult with somebody that you trust, a family member, a loved one, a mentor that's here with you, somebody that you can verify to see, do you think that this is fishy? Do you think that this might be a scam? But again, the key word in that is a trusted member. And do not click on any computer, email, or text message links that are unknown or unexpected. A lot of these will, when you click on that link, it will let somebody hack into the backside of your computer, and then they will pull any information or passwords that you have saved in your computer. A lot of people now do a lot of their banking online, and they will log into bb&t.com, member1.com, whatever your bank is. And a lot of people also will save their passwords. And Google will pop up, do you want to save this password so you don't have to worry about it? And you hit yes because it's easy. But if a hacker can get into your computer by you clicking on one of those links, they can do the same thing and they can access your money. And they can either wire money out, they can transfer it out, transfer it in, they have your information now. So don't click on anything that you're not expecting it to be. If you get a random text message on your cell phone that says, you've won $2,000. Click here to verify your bank account. No, don't click it. Don't click it. Does anybody have any questions or any scams that you've heard of or any kind of clarification that I can give with anything? Yes.
Luggage and papers were taken. And I sat on it for about 24 hours, and I responded to the email and said, I'm sorry to hear that this happened. I hope you're on your way home by now, and everything is okay. And about 5 minutes after I submitted that, I got a response. These people were now in Germany.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I don't know why I didn't do it the day before, but I called the person who supposedly sent me the email, and she was working at her husband's office. She was the receptionist, and as soon as she heard me on the phone, she said, did you get an email from me? And I said, yes, I did. And she said somebody had hacked her email contact list and was sending out all of her friends were calling her about it.
And another thing to kind of come off of that, is now with social media, where so many people have Facebook because they're trying to keep up with loved ones and family members that might not live here. They might live a state away, and it's just a easy way for them to kind of keep up with people and watch the grandbabies grow and all that. You will see where I may get on my Facebook and comment on a friend's photo that they're going on vacation and say, enjoy it. We can't wait till you come back. We can't wait to see the pictures. And then if somebody has that right amount of information that they know that this friend or this coworker or this boss is out of town for travel, then they can use that information to say, I got robbed. I got, everything got stolen. My credit card's not working. I need you to wire me some money. And once you wire it, it's gone. So yeah, that's, again, then that also leads back to that hacking into your computer and in your phone, getting your contact information. Yes, ma'am.
I'm not sure that I got all of this, but the morning news were saying that this was a deadline for telephone companies to be sure they have blocks on Robo Calls.
Mm-hmm.
Is that really going to work?
I believe they are trying their hardest. But unfortunately, I think that when they try and they get that in, it may last for a little bit, but somebody's going to find a way around it. So I would still just be very cautious.
Yeah, but I was hoping they were going to make some headway.
Well, they did some. So it used to be when you get a telemarketer call, it would be a random phone number from a random area code. And as you notice, here in the last year or two, they've been local numbers. So they used to put blocks on those long-distance numbers, and they found the way around it was to take local numbers. So they're still trying to find their way around that. We can hope. We can hope. But otherwise, they're probably going to continue to call. Anybody else? All right, Ms. Teresa. Well, thank you all for having me come speak today. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I can hear your answer.
Mm-hmm.
I got a call today about Amazon. I do not have an account with Amazon. I just don't, and my daughter does. But if this force told me if I didn't pay my balance of such an amount of time, that they would take it out of my checking account. How did they get my name? I don't see how it's possible when I don't have an account.
They can get your name from all different types of. They can get your name from all different types of areas. It doesn't have to be from Amazon. It may be from an old phone book that you were the name that they picked that day. Amazon is just a very widely used shopping network, so it's usually a lot of people do shop on that, so they may get lucky and find somebody that believes them. But again, something like that, if you owe money, they're going to send you a bill in the mail. So don't ever give any information or payment over the phone for that.
I got the same thing a couple days ago, seeing that I owed $772 to Amazon, and please call this number. I didn't call it.
No, I wouldn't call it. If you had somebody that you're talking to on the phone, just say, well, you can send me the bill and then I'll look at it.
I've gotten that in the past. I just hang up and I look up my Amazon account and make sure it's been displayed.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm getting the Amazon one too. In fact, they called me 4 times within 2 hours on Monday, saying that they've been in charge of $700 on my account in Ohio, which they suspected being fraud. But interestingly enough, it showed they calls were from local numbers. 4 different local numbers. Vernon Valley local numbers. And I don't think Amazon has an office here.
I don't believe so. So,
But the thing I'm most curious about, I've had this happen a couple of times, and it seems to me it happens right
Mm-hmm.
So that means they're in the Amazon account somehow. And no, it's still still working or no?
It's very hard to protect all of that information online. The internet is just so widely used and so many different hands involved, especially with a company as big as Amazon. I would like to think that Amazon doesn't sell their customers' information, but that is something that people do say, that large corporations will sell contact information for their customers. Anything to make a dollar. So I guess the question is, which one of y'all are shopping on Amazon? Because they like this group. Just be very cautious with that. Yes, ma'am.
There's another type of scam, I think, that, you get an email advertisement, and you're not interested in it, and on the bottom it says unsubscribe.
Mm-hmm.
And you unsubscribe, and it always tells you it takes 5 days to take you off the mailing list, that they just found, the day before and put you on it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Well, they unsubscribe you from company A, but they transfer your email to
Mm-hmm.
company B, and next day you get an email from company B making you another offer.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can play this game forever.
It just bounces around, unfortunately.
I think a number of us maybe there was a time when we felt like we needed to be polite
Mm-hmm.
to talk to these people. And you do have to learn not to worry about being polite to them.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that everybody in this room, aside from, I'm going to say me and Teresa, have earned the right to not have to be nice all the time. So it is okay.
The other scam that we had, a few years ago is we got a phone call that got recorded on our voicemail.
Mm-hmm.
And when we listened to the voicemail, we interpreted it as a threat to us. I don't remember the details, but we interpreted it as a threat. And we called the police
Mm-hmm.
about it. And he came over to the house and he listened to the voicemail. And he had all he could do to keep from laughing. I could tell. Okay. Then he said, just ignore the thing, because he said, it could be your neighbor
Mm-hmm.
calling you and doing this. And I know these scammers are going, like you said, going through the phone book and just picking out phone numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow they're using, Babiak's phone number to call me. And give me this offer, okay? I may not know Babiak from, anywhere. It's just their phone number, and I just picked you out of random. Okay, lucky he picked your phone number out of random. And he called somebody and gives them this, runaround. And if you were to call back, you might get Babiak, because that is the phone
Mm-hmm.
number that they can make a phone call.
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
I want to know whatever happened to the poor grieving widow in some unblessed country who has money in a bank account in this country and needs me to go to my bank and file some paperwork so she can get her inheritance.
I'm sure that is still around. The good thing is that if you have to go to your bank will hopefully catch that and say, no, we don't need that paperwork now. Yes, ma'am.
We are given directories a couple times a year. Everybody's name, phone number is in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how many people shred them when we get new ones, but I think it would be a good idea to shred them rather than just throw them in the garbage.
Shred the books. That would be wonderful. Anybody else? All right, well, thank you for having me to speak today.
Thank you, Megan, for coming out. That was a great presentation and a lot of useful information. If you have any further questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me and I can pass those on. Have a good afternoon.